Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Dwarf, and welcome back to another episode of LEGO Arts. So, in the last episode, we did a showcase on the Arbiter from Halo 2. But this episode, we decided to take a step back and look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, specifically in the short comic book series of The Last Ronin. It's a short comic book series that tells the tale of a dystopia future where New York is being controlled by the Foot Clan. 3 of the turtles are dead, except for 1, and now 1 turtle has become a Ronin, and is on a mission to defeat the Shredder. Not gonna dive too deep into the comics, in case like you don't want to be spoiled by it, and you are curious by it. Fair warning, it is a dark tale, so just a heads up of that. But either way. But anyways, I really wanted to do this minifigure because I finished reading the comics, and they are depressing, but at the same time, really, really interesting. And the Ronin's design, I really liked it. So I wanted to see if I could take that design and incorporate it to a minifigure format, and I think it came out pretty well. He was definitely much more of a challenge compared to the other ones, and I'll explain that as we go further along. So, as you guys know, there's no point to take this minifigure, do a review, explain the process, why we put this route, and then go from there. Also, I'm recording this on a different format as sort of a little experiment to see how it goes. Now, without further ado, let's get the pedestal out and get the showcase on the road. So here we have the Ronin in the full display outfit, and as I said before, this one was much more challenging to do than the other turtles. They had a pretty consistent design. This one had actually a couple different versions of the Ronin, and most of them were like comic covers. So it was a little hard to find a good design of like what to go off of, and also finding photo references for this guy was actually trickier than expected. But luckily I was able to get a couple of them for the front and back, and was able to put this together. So the base of the figure was actually completely black that I used for the base, which was a pretty good idea, and even though it's pretty much painted up all over. For his weapon, he rarely uses it, but he has this tonfa, that I felt was a really, really cool one. And this is like one of the extra nightsticks that I got from my Black Canary minifigure. So let's put that to the side so we could see the whole figure itself. A lot of this was really, really much of like sort of a process to figure out how to attach on this stuff, because you could see a lot of 3D elements were added onto this, mostly Procreate clay and fabrics. With the fabrics, I did the classic on a fabric coat and wrapping around for the figure. Underneath is actually a separate piece of fabric that I glued on first, and then wrapped the coat around it, and the coat around that. Yeah, so you can see it was sort of like the coat continues on from the back, from the front, and going all the way to the back. We get a little preview on the back. On the back, he's got like a couple of weapons on here. Here he's got Donnie's staff, one of Raph's sai, Leo's katana, and you can kind of see it. But underneath this sheath is one of Mikey's nunchucks. We'll talk more about that in a bit. The arms were pretty easy to do. I sculpted out this wrist gauntlet, and added on onto the forearm. I then also decided to go a little extra mile and have some glove tops added onto the minifigure's hands to sort of give it a more aesthetic effect, which I think came out really, really good. I think one of the most challenging parts was probably the head. So the head is a Ninja Turtle head, that I took, sanded off the back of the bandana, just like with the first ones. But instead of adding onto it, I decided to sculpt out the hood, this like assassin hood, and add more onto it with the back. I think I made this in like 2 components. So like first I did the hood, the top of the hood part, and then I added the clay on the back, for like this spike or like this loose part of the hood. I had toyed with the idea of maybe making the hood separated, so he could have like a couple of scenes with him out the hood, but memory came back to me of realizing that would be a pain in the ass to put together, and would probably look terrible. So I scrapped that idea and just had it as a full head, which I'm glad I did, and I guess it was much better. The mask was originally supposed to be a different shade of black, but the acrylic marker I was using took multiple layers, to put it in. So I just did like a couple of bases of it, and then I painted in some black acrylic. I filled in the eyes with some white paint. I made this sort of like old olive green greenish shade of color, because the Ronin's pretty old. I added that in, and then with the marker, I went back in and drew in these like wrinkles around the mouth, and a little bit on the top, not really too much, and the bottom of the chin. Chin still came out pretty good. This belt is actually real quick. This belt piece that I have on here is actually an extra piece from an old Mandalorian minifigure I had lying around. So I took that piece, cut off the connector of it, and just glued the pieces onto the coat. So you can see like on the back and back it's positioned there, and then on the front's positioned there, pretty good. And good. Didn't have to do too many modifications to it because the belt is roughly the same. If we go ahead and remove this torso, I can actually remove it for once. So we can see a better look at the legs. He's got two different kneecap armors, which I think is kind of cool. This metallic, the sort of bronze metallic golds that I used over here was like an extra little piece of armor, and his feet, he's supposed to be wearing like sandals on top, but I think it's still a pretty cool idea. Now we can go ahead and put this back on, and if we go ahead and remove the head, I can actually show that the head is not only removable, but I can actually position it on different angles on the hood. I can't do a full rotation of it because of the weapons, but there's still plenty of room for him to like move around, and also enough room to where we can move his arms into this. This was something that I really wanted to add for the Ronin, to give him like a little bit more articulation than some of the other turtles. You could kind of see a little bit of detailing is underneath this shirt. And the shirt's not too much of it because it's all pretty much covered up. He's also got these red goggles that's almost not about adding it on a strap, but the head doesn't even have really much of an X, so I decided to not torment myself and just add that in. So go ahead and add his head back on, and going back to the back again, it was again made in various components. So I first made this silver ring underneath here to like hold the weapons in. I then sculpted out. I believe I first sculpted out the bow staff. The bow staff first, and then added more on to the other stuff. The weapons I chose to just sculpt them out because if I made them as full-scale weapons like minifigure attachments, the whole thing would be completely covered and it'd be very clustered together, and I didn't want that. I think it would have looked way too clunky, and really cover up everything. And I wanted to leave enough room to at least give the idea that he's carrying these weapons, but also give the idea that it's not too overly clustered together. Moving on past with that, yeah, pretty much with like just the minor stuff really to do. You can see like I tried painting over the hands, but I'm beginning to accept that at this point in time. Now I'm painting over minifigure hands, and your hands is next to impossible because the paint's always going to chip off. But moving past with those challenges, this was still pretty cool. I think like the only real difficult part that I had with making this guy was probably the shoulders and the weapons, because with the programmed clay, it's pretty fragile sometimes if it doesn't have like a good reinforcement to it, and also trying to sculpt out very thin parts and making sure that they stay in position without them slowly getting onto the minifigure's arms is really, really painful. So I'm really glad that this was able to stay intact mostly, and at the end of the day, it really came out amazing. And there we go. That is going to do it for this episode of LEGO Arts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I haven't been active in quite a while, and that was mostly because one, I've recently been getting into a project in real IRL that I've been working on for a while, and will be done later on next month, but it's been taking up a lot of my time. And also, I had a technical issue with streaming when I was playing Horizon Forbidden West, where I spent nearly 3 hours recording it, and it came out to only 40 minutes. Needless to say, I was extremely pissed. So I think I'm going to be taking a break from streaming for a bit, but that's going to be all right because in the next couple of months, we're going to be going back to Let's Plays with Bayonetta 3 and God of War Ragnarok coming out really, really soon. So I'm super excited to get to those games. And also in general, wanted to sort of like cut back a little bit, and wanted to focus more on more on my custom showcases because I really like working on them. And speaking of showcases, I finally just received some parts that I needed for Blue Team, so now I can finally finish up those figures and get them ready for you guys. I've also been working on a couple of armor kits that I've recently gotten from some other from some other customizers, and hopefully those will be done soon. I can't wait to show you guys what they look like. So if you want to check out some of the other projects I've done, you can check them all out in my LEGO Arts playlist. You can also subscribe to keep up with and updates on on Let's Plays, as well as other showcases and other fun projects that we'll do in the future. But overall, that is going to be it. So thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Bye-bye!